everyone. Hi again. My name is Colin, and welcome back to the second episode of this open-ended one-shot. Never mind. Welcome to Skyrim 10 AD, the second episode. Previously, we were introduced to most of our player characters, and I'd like to reintroduce them now to you, starting off with young Botty.
Hello, good evening. I am young Botty here, a sassy young lassie bard from south of the border, coming into Skyrim and search for lore and any information I can get on the Dragonborn. I'm obsessed with the Dragonborn. I'm here to say drastic new measures and new ideas need to be brought so that I can get my fix on the Dragonborn and inspiration and tell the stories of the Great One. Good evening.
And one of Botty's newfound friends is our dear friend Luke.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Pat here. My character is Luke. He is a cleric of Kinrath. He is a Nord, but this is the first time he's ever been to Skyrim. He grew up on a farm in Cyrodiil, where his family spent his entire life. He talks about that occasionally, but then there's sort of a blank spot in his history that he doesn't talk about. And then for the last 10 years, he has been living in a monastery of Kinrath, and was recently told that he should go to Skyrim. And knowing that Body, who had been spending some time at a nearby inn, was also interested in Tales of the Dragonborn, we headed for Skyrim.
Thank you, Pat. And lastly, of our players, we have the young and nimble Jaquai.
Hello, it's Ray. I've got Jaquai Chang Kane, a 26-year-old Khajiit male, a monk who's lived in a monastery almost all of his life, and is on a quest to find his brother, whose name is Zaren. And he got a letter through the monastery, and the person referred to his brother as Zarendar. So he is trying to find his brother and find out why he is being referred to in this new way.
Thank you very much, Ray. And we might have a new friend joining us a little later on. But last we left off, Jaquai, Luke, and Botty had met with each other and seemed, after dealing with a rather starved wolf, decided to travel together. They stumbled upon a very recently built inn, and with a very Michael Rookerish bartender passing around, giving them some information on the local area. And upon a very great rendition of the Bard's tale of how the Dragonborn entered the Bard's College and helped them out, they decided to head to Haldir's Cairn, in which they found the dead body of a bandit and decided to investigate further. Once they investigated, they found a young wizard bent on killing them. It was only later, through some questioning, that they found out that he was seeking revenge against bandits who had recently killed his brother. With a few persuasion attempts from the two that's not really proficient in persuasion, they managed to talk him down and try and help him out. When he left, they tried to give him a head start to head home, but upon hearing some mischief outside, they went out to find two bandits trying to kill him. So they joined in the fight, and we find out that Luke very ferociously ended one of them by nearly decapitating him with a spell. And his hatred for bandits was there for all to see. And then they ventured back to Alpi's bar, or Alpi's Inn, should I say, and decided to rest there for the rest of the day, hoping to see Alandian off to head home to back to Cropsford with his family. So, starting off, it has been. You've spent most of the day in the inn, in Alpi's Inn. When Alandian had fallen unconscious on the table, Alpi himself decided to take a little bit of responsibility, and he offered to have him stay there for free until a cart was made available that could take him back across the border, back into Cyrodiil, and to join up with another town there. So he's currently downstairs, fast asleep in one of the rooms, gratis to, and you guys are. If you want to pick it back up again, we'll pick it back up just after you got back, and Alandian has been taken downstairs, and he's currently asleep. So it hasn't been that long since we last finished. Last we left off, Pat was outside dealing with the remains of what he brought back from the fight, and Botti and Jaquai were sitting talking to each other. What would you like to do?
So as I'm coming in from burning the remains of that bandit, I'll take another look at the notice board that directed us to the cairn in the first place. And my recollection was there was some comment about a reward, but maybe that was wishful thinking. What did that notice board say again?
Well, you'd have to go outside because the notice board.
Well, as I'm coming, remember I was outside burning that head. So as I'm coming back in,
you said you were with the wood pile. The wood pile is at the back of the inn, so you would have went out the back door.
Okay, well, I'll walk around. I'll make a point of coming back in the front door, striking a tinder if it's too dark for me to read with my human non-seeing in the dark eyes.
So you walk up to the notice board, or do you take the notice down?
If I can read it in the dark, if I can read it outside, I'll just read it there.
I don't think it was that late when you got back. But yeah, it simply says something weird going on in that old Ayers cairn. If you can do something about it, the Jarl's paying gold for your help.
Okay. All right. So I'll remember that and then step back inside the inn and rejoin. Well, actually, I think I haven't eaten yet, so I'll go grab some cold cheese or whatever Alpi's put out for us and then go rejoin Bati and Jaquai. Yeah.
So Bati and Jaquai, you two are just resting in there. If you wanted to silently just sit and eat and drink after the day's happenings and then head to your rooms and get some sleep, or did you guys want to accomplish anything before you head off for that night?
No, Jaquai is just going to go to spend some time quietly.
I think Bati will also take this time to collect thoughts on a piece of parchment. Maybe start forming some prose for the next segment of the mission.
Fair enough. So you all return to the rooms that you previously had and get some sleep or meditate or do what you need to. Any spells or any hit points you've lost are all returned to you. and you get a full night's rest, and wake up the next morning. Again, to the sounds of chopping wood. LP seems to be chopping quite a lot of wood to be able to keep his fire going for as long as he likes, 24/7. So he's forever chopping wood every morning. And again, you wake up to the sounds of that the next day. You get up and come upstairs to have something to eat. It's probably just as you're finishing up, while you're all sitting around, you hear a doosh against the front door of the inn. Sounded like something, kind of like when doosh against the front door, and then it went ding ding. And Alpy's like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, every fucking time." He turns to you, Luke, and he goes, "Luke, would you mind going out there and telling them to hold?"
Sure. I get up, walk to the door,
See,
open the door, and poke my head out. What the heck's going on?
roll a perception check.
All righty. Ooh, 18 plus plus whatever mods. So pretty good roll.
Like 4. Excuse me. So it's hard to miss the giant cart right in front of him. But with that roll, you also... Sorry?
Hang on a second. I'm having a little bit of a digital feedback, and I missed as soon as Pat just walked out. Pat, can you retake from that spot, please?
So I rolled it at 18 on a perception check, and Colin was about to describe what I see.
Okay, so you roll a perception check, and it's quite high. So you see the big, massive cart there in front of you, but you also see a half-eaten apple kind of rolling down the steps, and you kind of think, well, I'm pretty sure that's what just hit the front door. And you look up, and there's a cart, but there's also an insignia along the side of it, and you recognize what type of car. It's like a cargo cart for the Imperial Army. And in it, you see one Imperial soldier just sitting at the front. He's got an Imperial uniform on with an Imperial helmet, and 2 horses at the front there, dragging the cart. And he's a Nord with long, white, scraggly hair. And one eye is scarred over and milky white, and the other one you can't really tell what it looks like. But he's just sitting there looking right at you, not saying anything.
Now, so I lived in Cyrodiil. Does he have any rank insignia, or is he just a rank and file guy?
Yeah, he's just a common soldier. It's no rank, just a private, just the lowest of the low, just sitting there. Just
good morning, good morning, soldier. Did you drop your apple?
He's just looking at you. Doesn't respond, doesn't say anything. His mouth is kind of open. He's kind of like sucking the apple out of this thing. From inside you hear, "Just turn it the fucking way."
Okay. Alpy Minds asks that you might wait for a few minutes.
He's still just staring right at you. Not saying anything, not doing anything.
I give as good as I get, so I just stare right back.
About 5 or 6 minutes go by, and the Alpi has managed to rouse a landing from downstairs, and is sort of like walking him up, and he goes, "Come on, kid, cart's here. It's gonna take you down to Bruma." And he goes, "It'll from there you can get a car home." And he's like, "Thank you very much." And you have a look at Alani now. He's a little bit more together. His face is washed. His hood is actually pulled back, and it's sort of like just lying on the back, kind of like a hoodie on the back of his robes. And he's got his pack with him, and his face has been washed. And he comes up to you, Jaquai, and Botti, and simply says, "I just." It looks to you as you're sitting at the table. I just wanted to say thank you for everything you did. Really, thank you. And then he turns to you, Jaquai, and he says, "Thanks a lot for your advice, for what you said, but you were wrong." And he sort of like pulls his hood up and starts to walk outside. And he heads past you, Luke, and he sort of like he sort of like nods his head and says, "Thank you, just thanks. You guys are welcome if you do ever decide to. I've got to go." And he goes up and gets in the back of the cart.
And I don't try to slow him down or stop him, but I say, make Kenrith guide your steps.
He's not really paying attention. He's sort of like he puts his hood up and sort of like just bows his head and just gets on the cart. And Alpy just from behind just screams and he goes, "That was it! Fuck off!" A couple of seconds you just hear as he as the driver of the cart just clicks the reins and the cart just takes off towards the border with Hammerfell and Cyrodiil.
And I'll clean the apple stains off the door and go back inside and finish my breakfast.
So you're back inside and landing is off. Is there? So you've rejoined the table with Jaguai and Botti. Is there anything you want to go through or go over while you were there?
So I'll point out that I confirmed that the notice board says the Jarl's offering a reward. Might be worth looking into. Might give us a chance to learn a little bit more about the area. Jaquai, presumably the Jarl lives in a larger town or city. Might be a chance to ask about your brother.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think we should go visit the Jarl.
I'm always up for a walk.
So Alpi, what town where is the Jarl's great house? Where does the Jarl live?
That'll be Falkreath, just down the road. It'd be hard to miss. You just got to keep on, just heading straight down the road. I'm trying to think if there's... Yeah, the person you want to be speaking to is Nenya, though. I wouldn't be going talking to that fucking Egypt down there. You want to talk to Nenya.
Is Nenya the Jarl's steward or some other official?
That she be, and a fine woman she is. But just don't get on her bad side. She's kind of feisty if you get on her bad side.
Who is the Jarl? What is the Jarl's name?
It'd be that dipshit Sidgear. As I said, needn't bother with that bastard.
So I kind of give an eye look over at Bati or Jaquai. You guys know anything about the Jarl or his steward?
I have no information.
No, zero clue. Let's
Okay.
Let's go take a look.
Okay.
So it's at this point, you're sitting around, you're getting ready to pack up. You hear the front door open up, and a new set of foot. Some footsteps coming in as somebody else has just recently entered the inn. And Alpi looks up from his journal, and rolled his eyes. Fucking kid. So, do you guys take interest in this new visitor that you have?
Of course. What do we see?
You turn around, and there's a young man there, and enters. Would you like to describe yourself, Victor?
Alpo, you old skeever. Who took the notices off I put on the board there? And you guys see a young man about 5'10". As he throws back his hood, you see tousled red hair with a white streak that extends back from a scar on his forehead. He sort of stands with, practiced ease, got a sly smile on his face. He's kind of muscular. He's got a pack slung over one shoulder, a couple of daggers in his belt.
Fucking Alpi, you little shit. No fucking forget it. And he goes, from what
Sorry
fucking...
about that, Alpi.
And what fucking signs you going on about now? I told you that notice board is yours and theirs business. It ain't my business. I don't fucking care about that thing.
Well, I put some signs up and offering my services as a guide. No, they're not there anymore. Just figured maybe you ripped them down because you don't like me too much. Something like
well, if you're looking at some people who don't like you too much, that's pretty much everybody you ever met, kid. So, you guys didn't take down his thingy. I know you guys are just fresh in town. Do you have his fucking signs? Please tell me you have his fucking signs so I don't have this kid fucking moaning in my ear for the rest of the night.
The blankest of blank looks. There's a notice from the Jarl up there. Is that the one you're talking about?
We left it up there, though, didn't we?
Yeah, it's still out there. I just read it this last night.
Yeah, that's still there. Yep. No, I had a notice on there just offering services as a guide around Skyrim. I know my way around a bit. Are you interested in a guide?
Victor, you will notice that they all look brand spanking new to actually roll. Let's see, an insight check. That would be wisdom.
That's let's see, wisdom 16 plus 2 on.
Yeah, the DC was 15. Looking across the three other people that are in the bar, you see one large Nord with armor that you notice wasn't really made for him. It doesn't sit sort of right. You see a young, wiry female wood elf. She's been around a bit. She's almost sits as cocky as you do. She's like, she knows what she's about and sort of like, how to get what she wants. And you also see this very inscrutable Khajiit. You actually look at it and he's in robes. You really have no idea what he's about. But he doesn't look like a Skyrim native. So these are like, this is exactly what you're looking for. These are the rubes, you should say, that you could probably sell your wares to or your services to.
Excuse me, you folks look like you're new to the province. Do you have any interest in hiring me as a guide? Are you going farther into Skyrim, or are you leaving?
All right. So at this point, so I'm trying to think of Luke because this is interesting. This has a couple interesting layers. So I think at this point, so Luke's first reaction would be just exactly the same thing that Victor's character was of just giving this guy a real once over. Like, okay, here comes this roguish character here. Obviously, a real cock of the walk attitude. So just do the same. I'm going to give him just a real once over and see what see if I can take the measure of this young man before
roll an
opening
insight
my mouth.
check. You've got unless you roll real shitty, you've got a real good wisdom there. So
yeah, I'm actually proficient there. Oh, I roll pretty shitty, but I've also got a bit 11 with mods.
Yeah, you don't really know what he's about, but yeah, definitely this very practiced sort of like a cockiness. He's very self-assured. He knows what he's doing, and he's if you look at his shoes, you can see that how he traveled there was definitely through the forested area. He didn't come up the path because all up his legs are all wet.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so he's come through. He hasn't ventured up the road. Maybe that's why he doesn't know where his ducats have come and things like that. But yeah, he definitely knows what about, and his armor is well worn. His daggers are in sheaths that have seen some use. With an 11, if you had to hit a 15 or above, you might have got a little bit more information, but that's pretty much all you've got from 11.
Yeah. So, funny. You should assume I need a guide. I'm a Nord. My parents came from not too far from here. Why would you presume we need a guide?
Well, you don't look like you really belong here, so I thought perhaps I might offer my services.
Yeah, plus they're also in an inn that's just near the border. So,
yeah, of course.
As you said, they're either coming or they're going.
Well,
and I'm looking for work.
Would you excuse me for a moment? I'd like to speak with my companions here.
Sure, I'm going to saunter off and chat with my old pal Alpi.
He just looks up, gives you the dirtiest looks from his journal, and then goes back in to writing in it.
So then in obviously lowered tones, making no effort to hide the fact that I'm disguising conversation from this newcomer. So I'll talk a normal voice here, just so we don't have recording issues, but very much trying to keep this sado bache. So a companion of mine back at the monastery, he suggested that it might be worthwhile for us to hire a guide now. And then casting a look over at this young whippersnapper, I don't know if this is exactly what he had in mind, but he was a wise man. I respect his opinion. We may be smart to hire someone to help us out as we venture further into Skyrim.
Now, I don't know if we need a guide just to go to Falkreath to the Jarl, but if we want him for the long haul, we best look into see what sort of payment he's into, or if we can provide any services to him so that he might join our group. Do you have any thoughts, Kat?
His self-assured manner is not encouraging, but we could hire him on a contingent basis if he successfully gets us to Falkreath. Then perhaps he'd be useful getting us other places. We could pay him a very modest sum to get us to the first location.
Here's another a contingency, maybe. Why don't we see if we can get him to tell us something about your brother?
I'm not certain I would trust anything this young man has to say at this point.
Too brash.
Perhaps we ask him to join us. We take his measure on what may be a safer trip to the Jarl. By the time we get to the Jarl's Hall, perhaps we'll have comfort with his services.
We'll call it a test, man. Sounds good.
All right, let's do it.
So, raising my voice to full Nordic volume. Young man, would you mind joining us over here at our table?
Sure. I walk over in a somewhat less cocky way, and having been scolded by Alpi, and take a seat at the table.
And
so where are you folks going?
Well, perhaps introductions before we are in order. I'm Luke.
I'm pleased to meet you, Luke.
I'm Bati. Good to meet you.
Bati? My pleasure.
This one is Jaquai.
Jaquai. It's always great to meet a Khajiit. Good day, sir. My name is Septimus Vulpin, but you can call me Mouse. Mouse is fine.
I look around. Are you wearing gray by any chance?
No, just
okay. All right.
brown leather armor.
If you're in gray, I'd have to start looking around for another big guy with a beard.
So where are you going?
We're actually our journey today is perhaps one that might not require a guide, but in some respects that might be the best opportunity to get to know you. We're just going to go visit the Jarl to inquire after, or actually perhaps by Alpi's suggestion, the Jarl Steward. Dinya, we're going to go visit the Jarl Steward in an effort to claim a reward. We feel like we took care of a little problem up at the cairn.
Well, if I know Alpi, he wouldn't advise you to go and visit that idiot, the Jarl. So certainly the Steward would be a better choice. If you're talking about the Jarl of Falkreath, anyway. I can get you there. It's a simple walk up the road, and then a left, and then a right, and you're right in Falkreath.
So what might your price be for such an easy day's stroll?
Oh, I think a silver would be fine.
Fair enough. Jaquai?
Fair enough.
Yeah,
we can negotiate further later if you feel my services are worth more. But at this point, it's a short walk. I don't see any reason to charge more than that.
Fair price. Anything we should provision, or should we just ask Alpi to wrap us up a little fresh bread and cheese for the road?
I think that would be fine. Won't take us that long to get there.
And Falkreath also has its own provisions, I assume.
Oh yes, there's a rather surly merchant there who doesn't like anyone but Nords, but he's willing to sell people things, and there's a very nice inn.
One last question: does the mouse sing a high harmony?
No, sir. You wouldn't want to hear me sing.
Let us sing a jaunty jig on the road up to Falkreath.
I'd be happy to listen.
Okay, so Victor, you would know, seeing as you know the area. Mouse, you would know very well the area. It's quite a large forest. and it's quite a fair old distance. You would probably need to pack at least for, I would say, to be on the safe side, about 5 days rations. But it should only take around about 2, maybe 3 days walk from where you are now to get to Falkreath Hole, as the capital of Falkreath. So they should have some food and some provisions to be able to set up camp and camp out, because there'll be nowhere to stay until you get to the until Falkreath proper.
Okay. Well, I certainly have enough with me already. I'll wait for them to gather their provisions.
I don't believe I've spent any of my provisions yet, so I still have my 5 days of rations as well. I've got my water skin. And my water skin is full and ready to go and all that, I believe. Fresh water.
So later that day, probably spent probably about half an hour to an hour just gathering your equipment, making sure that you've got plenty of food to eat, making sure that you've got tinder boxes and such ready to sort of like set fires or anything that you need to. And then you head out on the walk. Come out of the inn and you turn left. After about an hour or so, you pass Haldir's cairn again. The body of the archer still lying there, and the decapitate. Well, no, actually, both of the bodies have been dragged to the side of the road, right near the cairn, and are lying right next to each other, right in front of where the cairn is.
Interesting.
Yep.
Somebody, you see that somebody, and you see little drag marks. It's pretty obvious, so there's no real check involved. But you see that somebody had gotten both the bodies and dragged them off the side of the road and left them outside the front of the cave, and then carried on with their business. You see
Wagon
this as well,
tracks?
Matt.
Are there fresh wagon tracks?
Not where the bodies are dragged. Let's see. Roll a survival. See if you can see any tracks. I believe survival is intelligence.
13. I'm not
It's wisdom.
proficient, so that is probably just a.
Is survival
Third.
wisdom?
Yes.
Oh, if it's wisdom, then I'm not proficient, but I've got a +4, so I would have a 17 on a wisdom check.
Yeah, you see some horse poop and some wagon tracks going right through that horse poop, probably like a good 50 yards away from the cave. You're thinking that the Imperial soldier who was riding the cart, excuse me, had come by and noticed this and probably made note of it, but he pulled the bodies to one side, maybe to get back to him later, or maybe just to get them out of his way.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe a little bit of cleanup on Imperial cleanup duty. Okay.
And probably a little looting as well.
And
that might have been done already.
Yeah, Mouse, you also notice this as you're walking past.
Okay, so after that, that's all. I know we scoped out those the bodies before we left the cairn. So I other than taking note of what we just talked about, I don't do anything further.
Okay. So you move along, and so we have what kind of pace are you guys keeping? Are you walking nice and slowly so you can, which means that you're walking roughly about 2 miles an hour, 18 miles a day. But if something should happen upon you, you would have the chance to be able to move in stealth and get out of the way of it. Or are you just at a normal pace, or are you at a brisk pace?
Well, my natural pace would be a fairly brisk. I would be keeping towards the front and watching, and so I mean, I know the road pretty well. I know the kind of things that can, well, at least I think I do. That can jump out, but it's a well-traveled road. It goes, if I remember correctly, it bears somewhat to the north and west as it heads in the general direction of Falkreath, and then meets another road eventually that we turn on to go down to Falkreath Hold itself.
Mm-hmm. So you're just traveling along the road, but if you're moving at a fast pace, or are you normal pace or a fast pace? It would be to all of you because all of you are moving along.
I think I would try to keep to a something a little faster than normal, but not fast. I don't want the poor little elf to get behind.
My legs are short.
So, so yeah, anything you wanted to?
Up the rear.
Is there anything you wanted to accomplish on your walk, or do you want to talk about? You'd be walking for a few hours.
Well, I'm interested to know, about my companions. I'd certainly like to hear a little bit about, particularly that cute little elf. She's rather fetching, actually.
Are you asking me, or are you asking them?
No, I was talking to them.
And so, and likewise, I don't know how much we want to sort of like completely role play, but likewise, I would be interested in taking the measure of the mouse a little bit as well. Just so maybe just so mouse, are you you consider yourself a professional guide, or is this something you do to fill the days when you're not doing other things?
Well, to be honest, I'm just starting out as a guide. I'm only 24, but I have traveled Skyrim extensively. I know my way around, and I just recently decided to start offering my services to people who needed help and guidance around the province. And I'm certainly looking for interesting situations as well.
Have you traveled all the holds of Skyrim?
Yes, I have. I've been pretty much across north, south, east, and west. The only city I haven't spent a lot of time in is Markarth, but I have been there. I'm more familiar, perhaps, with the forests of Falkreath and southern Whiterun than a little bit and the Rift than I am with the far reaches of the north. But yes, I've traveled pretty extensively. That armor you're wearing, it's fairly worn. Are you an experienced warrior?
I can't claim such. This was given to me by. I'll share with you that I have recently arrived in Skyrim. I've despite my heritage coming from here, I have not been to Skyrim before. Your insight was correct. I am new to here. This armor was given to me by a fellow cleric of Kinnereth. We served together at a monastery for many years. And after being guided to come to Skyrim, he was kind enough to give me this armor and shield and mace, and I sort of pointed each of those. And the shield has an obviously emblazoned with the symbol of Kinnereth, and he helped me fit it as best he can, and gave me some training in this and how to use it, how to protect myself and protect my traveling companions. And I'm still looking for Kinnereth's guidance as to why I was sent here, but I feel we've done one good turn, and perhaps my companions and I will be able to continue to do good turns for one another, and perhaps include you in that fellowship as well as we explore.
You should know, priest, that though I have an imperial name and am by heritage imperial, I have spent my life in Skyrim, and here Kinnereth is referred to as Kine. So, as you make your travels around, you may want to keep that in mind.
A god by any other name is still a god.
You say so, sir. You say so.
So you travel throughout the day. You stop and have a break and sit down and set a campfire and have some food and break camp and move along. The day goes past. You travel for about 8 hours, and then you just start to feel, the day has taken its toll. It's just about done. So you go to set up camp. Let's see. Can I get... seeing as you're leading the troop, Mouse, I'll have you roll a survival check.
15 and just +2.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. You find a nice little clearing, free of any sort of overhanging trees or sort of like really dead, dry bush or anything like that that's going to catch. Collect a few rocks and such to set them up. And so you just set up camp and get your bedrolls out and set in for the evening for a night's rest. Is there anything you guys wanted to do? Are you just going to have your rations, or maybe do a little hunting, or are you just going to get some sleep?
At this point, I mean, I personally have enough rations. I'm well enough provisioned not to have to hunt. I might put a little bit of a fire together, strike a spark from my tinderbox, and start a small fire so we can gather around and have a little company. Perhaps the bard can give us a song.
I always like to play a song. Gladly. Do you have any requests?
As long as it's not Ragnar the Red, I'd be anything.
I was
rolling a history check, Andrew Botty.
Is that a 20 or?
Yeah, roll a 20.
Oh, 3.
Oh, 3. Yeah, you've never heard of Ragnar the Red.
Who's that?
Never mind.
I'm sorry, I don't get the reference. I'm from out of town.
I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. I forgot. You'll know soon enough who Ragnar the Red was. Probably in the next inn we get to.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
So you sit down for a night's. Are you all just going to go to sleep all together at the same time?
I think I'll stand watch for a bit, since our Nord friend seems to have run off into the trees to relieve himself, I'll discuss perhaps he can take watch for me when I sleep later.
So Mouse is taking first watch. Mouse.
I'm happy to take second.
So you can take second watch. And is anybody going to take third watch?
Sure. Sounds good.
So we have Botty bringing up the rear. So, give me a second here. Could I have more rubber bag. Botty, can you roll a perception check for me, please?
Oh no, a 1.
What kind of group have I got myself into here?
So you just got woken up by Luke, saying that he wants it's your turn to get up and sit and watch for the rest of the evening. You've had plenty of sleep. You got there to sleep pretty fast after you sang and had some food and a little bit of a chat with everybody else there, and you fell asleep. And but you're still a little bit tired after what happened yesterday, and thoughts of that running through your mind, and the long walk. Your eyes start to go again as you're looking at the embers of the fire there, and you just nod off again, just leaning against a tree. And then suddenly you hear crack of a twig, and your eyes kind of come awake. And could I have everybody else roll a perception check with disadvantage?
Wisdom, or what's the modifier?
Wisdom.
Yeah.
So with the pardon me, with disadvantage meaning
Roll twice.
roll twice and take the lowest one. Yeah.
I got an 11.
So 8 plus 4, so I have a 12.
And it was the wisdom modifier?
Yep.
All right, so 11.
Nobody scored over. Nobody got over 15, did they?
Nope.
Botty, you hear, because you were half asleep, half awake, you hear a sudden crack of a twig, and it's really close to you. Your eyes shoot open, and where you look right in front of you is a rather large Nord woman, and who is looking directly at you. She has some green and brown robes on, but she has really large steel plate gauntlets and a large mace to her side. She's not holding the mace. Her hands are empty, and she just puts her hand up, just looking at you, and just turns her at you. And he goes, "You should really have somebody sit and watch, you know." And at this point, you all hear this very large, loud Nord woman's voice say that quite loudly. What do you do, Butty? Currently, you're the only one awake.
I snap to attention and jump to my feet, shocked and disoriented. Run in a circle because I have no idea what's happening. And
Whoa!
Oh my god! It was supposed to be me. I was supposed to be the one on watch. What the hell? I guess I fell asleep. Oh my god! What am I doing?
And she just gets this, and then it's at this point you see the other rather large Nord woman in the same sort of dress, standing on the other side, and they're looking at each other, going, "Oh, okay, I guess." And the first one turns to you and says, "I guess you're kind of new to Skyrim. You should really have somebody show you what it's like around here." You're all hearing voices back and forth, so you're all currently now waking up to the sound of Botty running around the campfire, losing her mind, getting very panicked, and two other strange voices that you haven't heard before.
So I jump up in a defensive stance, not really knowing what's going on yet.
Easy. When we just saw your campfire, we were just checking it out. Roll an intelligence check, Mouse.
A 1.
Oh shit. Yeah, these look like scary ass cultists. They have robes on and huge metal gauntlets and are carrying maces. These could be some like dangerous people. They're not making any threatening moves right now, but to you, they look like dangerous, weirdo cultists.
Friends, back up. Stay away from these two. But don't make any threatening moves right yet.
She looks at you. She says, "That's fine as long as you're not making a threatening move. We weren't. We were just checking out your campfire just to make sure of something." Okay.
And what would that be?
Strange people out in the middle of the night usually tends to mean undead, and that's what we were looking for. Are you other two awake now?
Yeah, definitely perking up at this talk of undead and strange reaction from Mouse. So are there any symbols or anything on their robes?
Make a perception check. You can actually. I'll just have you do it, Luke.
So perception, you got a 22. Actually, if there's anything, I'm proficient with religion, but if that's any different. But anyway, 22.
Around one of the necks, the one furthest away from you, around her neck, is displayed is the symbol of Stendar.
Okay. So I would have some knowledge of Stendar being.
Yeah, you know
maybe on the inflexible side, but not a bad guy.
Yeah, he's one of the other pantheons. Obviously, not as good as your god, but
of course not.
He's So you know that these are acolytes of his. Generally, they try to do good. You haven't heard much of what they do in Skyrim, but you know, usually people who follow Stendar is usually on the side of good.
Okay. And I'll. So I guess let's see. So we didn't establish, are we sleeping in armor or not? I guess that's always one of your big traveling party questions. But regardless, I'll let's see. I would certainly have slept with my holy symbol around my neck, and I'll just unabashedly, just sort of unthreateningly, just show it to them and say, you know, I point at the one whose holy symbol I can see and say. I'll say to her that while we worship different aspects of the pantheon, I think we are most likely on the same side.
And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "That's pretty much what I figured when we approached. There's no strange smells, and you know there was no corpses being fed on. But we noticed that nobody was keeping watch, so we wanted to." Wanted to make you aware that it's kind of a dangerous thing in Skyrim.
We had intended to establish a watch, and I give Body a really dirty look.
As do I. Also, I cast a rather wary glare at the vigilance of Stendar.
Body has fallen back asleep over. Like,
Yeah, maybe you should. How old is she?
Apparently not old enough.
Yeah, maybe you should get her a nap time or something like that during the day, so this kind of thing doesn't happen. Because anything could have stumbled across you, and things that live in this forest, well, it'd be a quick fight. So, I'd. You mind if we travel through the night? Do you mind if we just hunker down at your fire, just for a bit?
No.
Like reignite it so we can heat up some food.
Yeah, I look at the others and shrug. And
Yeah, I'm awake now. I'll sit up with him and talk religion
awake
shop
too.
a little bit.
I'm not going.
I don't. No specific questions or anything, but I'll just make small God talk with them as they warm their food.
I'll hunker down and whittle on a piece of wood with my little knife.
Yeah. So they just sit down and sort of like, get a little bit more twigs just to get a little bit more heat out of it, and heat some water up to make some tea and heat some food and eat like that, and and that's pretty much it. If you guys are just sitting there making small talk and resting after about half an hour, 45 minutes, they say thank you very much. Keep an eye out in future, yeah? And then they sort of like carry on down the road.
I make a rather salty and profane remark under my breath that nobody really quite understands.
Let's look here. Nope. So yeah, they head off, and see. So yeah, you wake up the next day fully refreshed after a full day's rest, and carry on the next leg of your journey.
So it was Body's watch, so it was already the wee hours of the morning, correct?
It was.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
so,
Right, just check. So we're fully.
You
rested.
already had pretty much. You lay that back down and get some extra rest, but you get a full night's sleep. You're not exhausted or anything like that. They just disturbed you for an hour or so, and then you carried on. Botty, you got some extra rest this time around.
Oh, great.
So you wake up fully refreshed and ready to take on the next part of your journey.
Feels super good today, guys, right? Super well rested.
We have, back at the monastery, we have ways of dealing with acolytes who don't take care of their nightly chores. Serious, like if looks could kill at Body right now. Serious look. Yeah.
Yeah, Mouse is just going about his business, packing up his pack and not saying much. He's just going to walk over to the road and stand there and wait for everybody to get ready.
Oh, like the vigilants are going to do anything, guys. Everyone chill out. Come on.
This time it was vigilance. Next time,
I don't like their
maybe it's a
attitudes.
troll.
I noticed you had some beef over there, Mouse. What's your beef with the vigilance?
I don't really want to talk about it a whole lot, but I just find their attitude a little over the top.
Yeah, it's like a mouse is a vampire or something, right? Right,
Nah,
Priest?
no.
Right, Cat? He's a werewolf. Oh, are you wet by? You kind of smell dog. What dog? What dog?
He actually smells of wet forest, actually, and
wood smoke and
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
pines.
large ones, in fact.
Yeah,
Yeah.
simply just big pines.
Big, very big ones. Yeah.
So you guys get up for the rest of the day and have some breakfast and start on the slow march. It's sorry. It's pretty peaceful and it's nice walking through the forest. The road gets a little thin in places and then widens back out again. Birds are chirping sometimes, and you hear the very, very distant growl of an animal, maybe a wolf or two every once and so often. But usually everything stays pretty clear of the roads. They don't really want to run into anything. Mouse, I assume you are leading the troop as per normal.
Yeah, I'm walking on ahead a little bit.
Okay. Do you want to roll a perception check for me, please?
Good lord. Let's see. Perception. That would be an 8 total.
Okay, yeah, so you don't see anything coming. There's a really steep turn in the road. So you're slowly marching along. You probably get just a little bit after lunch. And as you're walking along, you suddenly see an animal walking along the side of the road. And it's just moving along, just casually, and its own thing. Is a very large cow, just randomly walking along the road towards you, not away from you, but towards you.
Can I ask you to describe the cow?
It's a rather large brown cow. Do you approach the cow? Depending on...
Does it have any markings on it?
You'd have to get closer and make a perception check, but you would have to get right up close to it.
All right, well, first of all, I will just gesture to my companions to stay back a little bit, and then I will get closer. And I roll 11 plus 4, 15.
So yeah, on the back, on its ass, you see a little symbol burned into it. And it's a circle with a C inside of it, and then with a torchlight coming down in the middle. And you've seen this before. This is one of the cows from Corpse Light Farm in Falkreath. And he's just randomly walking along the side of the road.
I thought it was a copyright marker for a minute. Interesting. Not quite sure whether we should. So I recognize the mark of Corpse Light Farm. So yeah. And we're now a day and a half into this. We're about a day away from Falkreath.
Yes, roughly.
Does the cow have any kind of lead on it?
It actually does. It has a broken. It has like a work a collar on it. It's not a grazing cow. This is a work cow. It was doing some rather hefty work. And it has this large collar on it with a broken rope just hanging off of it.
Well, I would say, Luke, do you have any experience with farm animals? I sure don't, but I recognize the mark on the cow, and I think since we're heading in that direction, we could bring it back to the farm to which it belongs. I'm not quite sure how to approach it.
I'm down with farm stuff. Yeah, so that was that. Yeah, I've worked with cows. We had a few. Our cows were at the monastery were mostly for milk and cheese and such. But I typically am pretty good with them. Looks like this one, as you say, may have gotten away. So I'll try to I'll try to go over and see if I can approach it in a non-threatening way as its master might have approached it, just to kind of get it under control. And
I
See if
assume
we
as
can
a
get it
cleric
back on
of
track.
kind, you have a certain amount of affinity towards animals. Yes.
So did you want to? What did you want to do, Luke?
So me personally, I know nothing about cows. Hopefully, Luke knows a little bit more. Was actually just going to go try to go. It's just walking, right? It's not charging or behaving strangely. It's just walking down the road, right?
No, was it? Mouse is probably about 15 foot away from it. You're probably a little bit further back, and you have yourself, Botty, and thingy like that. It's just a cow. Every once in a while, just eating some grass from the side of the road. I just walking along, having a fine old day.
Yeah. So I'll very cautiously and nonchalantly, non-threateningly walk up to it and see if I can get close enough to examine its lead.
I've
a little
heard
bit
they
more
like
to
it when
see
you
if I
call
can-
them bossy, but I'm not sure about that.
Especially those imperial cows, they're always bossy.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to roll a animal handling check for me, please? Which is a wisdom check.
All right. Oops, not proficient. Ooh, not so good. Only a 12.
Roll the 12 or total 12?
Total 12. Total 12.
12. Yeah. He kind of gives you a strange sort of look, but he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't get angry or anything like that. He's been on a farm. He's been around lots of people working him.
Sorry to interject here. We've been calling this a cow, but now you're referring to as a he. Is it a bull or a cow? Perhaps I misunderstood here. And might have treated it differently, but it's a cow, correct?
Yeah, it's a cow.
Okay, good. All right, just checking.
Yeah, it's like just a cow. So yeah. You grab hold of its lead, or the little collar around its neck, and you start to roll it around so it starts heading in your direction. Do you walk along with it, holding its lead permanently, or?
Yeah, at least long enough to, if we can get it to just follow along with us, probably slows us down a little bit. But presumably, if we can encourage it to walk along, I mean, I guess if Body, does your ability to make friends with animals, does it work on? Will it work on a domestic animal like this?
I wouldn't see why not. Let me.
That might make it a little less likely to scarp her.
You said the bull or the cow was kind of angry.
He's pretty tame.
Oh,
Yeah, he was pretty quiet. Didn't seem to mind Luke grabbing hold of the little collar and sort of like shifting him in a new direction to point him towards the direction they were going in. So are you going to cast Animal Friends?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's see. Was that an intelligence? No.
No, it's the spell, Animal Friendship, which is a cantrip.
Oh, cantrip. Yeah. Okay. It's a range of 30 feet. It's right there next to us.
Yep. And just cast it, and it must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw. So,
Oh, boom. Am I rolling a 20?
nope, it's me who rolls.
Right.
Yeah, so he rolled an 8. She rolled an 18. So it just sort of like, she just completely ignores you.
Wow. That's talented effort.
Yeah, she doesn't care what you say. So she sort of like moves along a little bit, following you guys. But once you let go of the lead, she'll stop and then start eating some more and then concentrate more on the grass as she's walking along. Doesn't seem interested.
Well, I suggest that Luke pick up the lead again, and then I'll grab some grass and try to just lure her along as we try to continue our progress here. Get her interested in some fresh clover, which I found on the side of the road.
And do you want to just stake her and then tell someone when we get to Falkreath?
Let's try to encourage her a little farther along, and then if that's the case, then we'll just leave her. If she's stubborn about it, we'll have to leave her behind.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So you grab hold of the collar and start to pull her along a little bit, and she comes quite naturally, quite easily. Starts walking along. Doesn't make too much of a mess or a fuss, and actually doesn't slow you down that much either. She's used to work, so she marks along at the pace that she's kind of told to. So, but as soon as you let go of it, she sort of like starts to wander again.
So we just have to keep hold of the lead, and she'll follow.
Happy
to carry the lead.
Yeah, just keep her going.
So you travel along with the cow. It doesn't slow you down that much. For the rest of the day, you have the nice smell of cow feces every once in a while popping out, and nothing else seems to happen. The day goes by. You chat amongst yourselves, have a nice, relaxing day of it. And you are now nearing a little crossroads. As you look down across, you can see that there's another little road right down at the bottom of this hill. And it's sort of like there's one that leads off to carrying on, sort of like kind of straight for this, but there's now a new join in the road. And just beyond it, a sort of like sharp kind of dip as the tree line starts to descend, as if it's going downwards as you're walking along. And you get to a little edge of this road and sort of like come into the interchange where a road comes up from the left of you. And then you get to the edge of the road. And if you have a look down, you actually, in the very far distance, see that this road leads down to the left, but right in front of you is little small town of Falkreath, just down at the very bottom of this. If you go straight down, without some very, very high dexterity rolls, it looks like you're going to die. But if you go left, you can see that this road leads all down and will eventually come up and into Falkreath. And you get to this point where you decide to have a little sit down and a rest, and rest for the night.
Uh-huh. All right.
So we're going to too far away to take the cow home tonight.
Yeah. It'll take a day's travel tomorrow.
Or a half day. We've been traveling 2 days now. Yeah. All right. Well, I suggest that we stake the cow out so that she can't wander off during the night. But I think we should be exceptionally vigilant tonight, not only because of Bati's mistake, which I will forgive last night, but because we have an animal that might attract predators. So I will volunteer to stay up and be vigilant most of the night. If perhaps Luke could spell me a little bit in the middle there, and then just wake me back up again, and I'll stay up after that.
Yeah, and perhaps Bati can have a bit of practice staying alert on guard duty.
Yeah, it might help to just help out a little bit.
Bati, so you can practice Bati being awake and assisting the rest of us with guard duty tonight, just to make sure that you hone that skill, which clearly needs a little bit of practice. I
trust that our Khajiit friend will sense some things before we do, anyway. So he'll be awake quickly if something happens.
Indeed. I require very little sleep.
Well, do you feel confident enough to spell me for a part of the evening? I'm perfectly willing to stay up since I have been hired as your guide. But if you feel confident, I trust you.
For my meditation, I can stay awake for days at a time.
All right. Well, let's see how things are going in the wee hours of the morning, and then we'll decide as I change back from Luke.
So, do you want to make a survival check? Set up camp there for us, please, Mouse. Is anybody helping him out, or are you just sort of like all standing on the side of the road, watching him set up your camp for you?
I'll take care of the cow. I agree with Mouse's suggestion to stake out the cow. So I'll stake out the cow, make sure she's got enough lead to munch a little bit, has room to lie down, etc. But I'll take care of the cow while Mouse sets up the camp.
Yeah, and you better take care of some other things because Mouse just rolled a 1 for survival. So.
So perhaps this one can lend a hand.
Thank you, Mouse. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
So with Jaquai's help, you get advantage on that roll, so you can roll another d20 and take the better of the two rolls.
Yeah, I rolled another 1.
Oh wow!
Okay,
ones.
think of it this way: you're getting it out of your system before we get into a big fight. So
Yeah.
maybe that's
Clearly, I'm not inspiring confidence in my charges here.
Okay, wow. Let's see how we're going to.
Perhaps my 11 will
Yeah,
do.
my tinderbox seems to have gotten wet, and I can't seem to start a fire. Sorry.
Yeah, you sit there and you watch Mouse like for a good 20 minutes, half an hour, just get it. And you, for some
And my
reason,
face
he
is getting
doesn't
redder.
notice that. Yeah, that all the twigs that he got are all soaking wet. Just for no apparent reason, he's spending all his time trying to light wet twigs. So, yeah, for the first few hours, you have no campfire, and you're all eating dried, cold rations, no warm tea, just water. As you don't seem to want to sort of like, point out his failure, so you kind of just deal with it. Leave the campfire. So, who's taking first watch?
Body.
yeah. I was.
Time
Are you going to take first, Mouse?
Yeah. And then
Okay, all right. And I'll spell you on second.
Yep.
And third.
And then I'll get back up again for third.
Body will take third.
I'll stay with you, Body.
Yeah.
If you get back up again, Mouse, you're risking taking a point of exhaustion.
Mouse.
Well,
I can do third. I can do
we're
third
halfway
watch,
from. Okay, all right, that sounds good. Thank you, Jaquai.
and I'll keep the elf awake.
That's what you think.
Remember, I have claws.
And you're not afraid to use them. Yeah, that's right.
So, you guys put the bedrolls down, and Mouse takes first watch. And just get me. Okay, here we go. So you all guys fall asleep and have a nice sleep, and absolutely nothing happens. You all get some nice rest, nice sleep. You wake up for your turn at watch, Luke, and all is quiet. The cow is quietly grazing. It's kind of warmish, and again, when Jaquai gets up, nothing else. Much else happens like that, and the night passes without incident. you all wake up the next morning fully refreshed and ready to face the day.
Excellent.
Nice.
Thank you for downloading this edition of Skyrim 10 AD. Email the show at skyrim10ad@gmail.com. For more information, please visit asapodcasting.com, where you will find a Skyrim Addict podcast, the Fallout feed, and our Amazon link, which benefits the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Find our social media in the show notes. Thanks for listening.